Hello everyone, it's Captain FX of FIMAB FinTech Company. Yes, today I would like to go through some of the pairs. I would like to give my overview of what I expect throughout this week, and I like to give you some tips on different kinds of pairs, and I would like to tell you on some of the trades we are holding in our community, in our VIP community. And lastly, I would give instructions on how you can join our VIP community. Well, this pair is Canadian yen, and it's one of the pairs on our watch list. Actually, in our community, we have several pairs of which we trade each and every day. We don't trade each and every pair, but there are some few pairs of which we trade each and every day. So this is one of them. It's Canadian yen, as you can see. On the daily time frame, the market seems to buy. The market seems to be in a bullish. As you can see, from April 20th, April 2020, the market has been pushing higher. And if you watch this on the monthly time frame, you can see that we had several rejections from this level here, and now the market tends to push higher to above levels. So we were mostly looking for areas to sell rather than areas to, we were looking for areas to buy rather than areas to sell. Well, this is on the weekly time frame, as you can see. And if you decide to mark some levels on this weekly time frame, you will see that we have a level at this point, and we have a level at this point which hasn't been reached yet, as you can see. So you can see that the market has been making higher lows and higher highs on the weekly time frame. You can see this was the base. We had several rejections from this point at 75.64. The market broke this resistance, which was 78.227. It traded up to 81.86. Then we had a retracement wave. This was a retracement wave. The market pushed low, and now the market seems to push higher back to 81.86. As you can see, we have two bullish weekly candlestick. We had this retracement candlestick last week, and now the market seems ready to push higher back to 81.86, as you can see. So these are the critical levels on the weekly time frame of which you must see, and which you must know where the market is moving on the higher time frame, so that when you take trades on the daily or on the 4-hour time frame, you can know how long can you hold those trades. Are those trades swing trades, or are they intraday trades? So you must know that, because the higher time frame you are trading tells you where the money is flowing, and you must always flow with money. When the money is buying, you shouldn't be selling. So on the weekly time frame, these are the critical levels of which you must be watching. Well, so I want to be watching this level because it has been passed already. The level I'm currently watching is 81.86, where our next target would be, as we are holding a trade from around these levels. So let's watch this on the daily time frame. If you watch this on the daily time frame, you will notice that the market has been forming higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, and the market now is on the verge of forming another higher high. Well, if you look here on this higher low, you can see that the market consolidated for a long period of time. If you watch this point here, the market consolidated for almost 5 days. It was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, and the market today seems to break out of this consolidation zone. And if it happens, we have such situations in the markets. The market normally pushes a lot higher. It moves in a good number of pips after the break of a consolidation zone. So I expect a good move to the upside after a break of this consolidation, because what's being done here is taking the impatient traders out, so that if they buy, maybe the market keeps consolidating and they close their positions, and after breaking, while the retail traders have closed their position, then the money flows to the required direction. So we entered this trade with our community. We entered last week. We closed it in at break even, but we entered this trade once again on Monday. It was yesterday. We entered around these regions. Our take profit is at around these regions, but we will have our first take profit at this point here. Our stop loss is just below these wicks. Well, our first take profit will be at around this point here, because we have a resistance at this point. Yeah, we have a resistance at 80.96, so we'll be looking to take some profits around this point here at 80.96, and thereafter our long-term take profit will be at around this supply area at 81.831, which might be reached in several weeks, or it may take time, but our stop loss is just below here. Our first take profit will be around these regions, and our second take profit will be at around these regions. So this was the signal which I sent on our Telegram VIP community, and we are currently sitting in profits. So this was the analysis behind, and if you watch this closely, you can see that the market is respecting a trend line from this point here, as it has been respecting this. You can see now the market is looking to bounce from the third touch of this trend line, which acts as a support. You can see we had the first touch and it did not touch well at this point. This was the second touch, and this is the third touch. And if you read well on the properties of the trend line, the third touch normally appears to have an explosive move to the direction of where the trend is heading. In this case, the trend is bullish, and what we are looking forward is to having some kind of push with a huge number of pips to the upside. So currently we are holding this trade. Stop losses are just above these levels. Our entries were around these regions. Our first take profit will be at around this point, and our second take profit will be at around this point. So this is one of the pairs we are currently trading, and that's how we entered this trade and how we'll be looking to take our profits. Well, the other pair I'll be watching is a Euro USD, which is the most traded pair in the world. By volume, it is highly traded by a lot of retail traders. So if you watch this on the weekly time frame, I normally trade this in correlation with the DXY, because the DXY, as the DXY is bearish, this is bullish, and if the DXY is bullish, the Euro USD is bearish. So if you watch this from the weekly time frame, you can notice that we have been buying, we have been in a bullish momentum from almost April of 2020, and now it's August, and the market has been buying. But if you look at these past few weeks candlesticks, you can notice that the market has lost the bullish momentum, as it has been forming Doge candlesticks. And you can see last week we had a good bearish weekly rejection from the higher levels. So what I expect this week is a kind of retracement back to higher levels, and then we could see the market push down for another retracement wave, because the market normally doesn't move in one direction. The market moves in two directions. We always have impulsive waves, we have retracement waves, we have impulsive waves, and now we are looking to have another retracement wave before we can look for another impulsive wave. So the market moves in such a direction. We have an impulsive wave, we have a retracement wave, impulsive wave, and now we'll be looking for a retracement wave. Maybe it could come to these points or around this point before we can have another impulsive wave. So currently we are looking to catch the start of a retracement wave back to the lower levels to form another higher low. So if you watch this on the daily time frame, you can see that we had a good lesson at this point here. You can see we had a critical zone at this point around 1.18993. This was a supply area. Last week we can see that the market pushed beyond this supply area so that it could take out or it could liquidate the stops of many retail traders who had sold at this point already, and their stop loss were around these regions above. So they were liquidated, and now the market is heading back down. And that's why it is always advised not to enter short positions area before you see an extension either beyond or below these zones. So you must wait for something like that, and then it's where you can look for selling these pairs when you are looking to catch reversals. So this was one of the good scenario, good lessons, as you can see. So the market pushed just above this liquidation zone so that it could liquidate all retail traders who had entered short trades area. Well, so what I expect this week, depending on how the DXY trades, I just expect a push back to around these regions before we can see a sell back to this point here. If that doesn't happen, then I won't be entering a short trade on Euro USD. So this is what I expect. I want to see some kind of push back to around this area here before I can look for selling opportunities. Because if you look it well, it will have formed a short, head and shoulder pattern. We'll be having the head at this point here. This will be the left shoulder, and we are currently waiting for the formation of the right shoulder before we can decide to enter a short trade. So this is my outlook on Euro USD, and if it doesn't form this pattern here, I won't be entering a trade on Euro USD. Well, while I trade Euro USD, I'm normally watching the DXY, which is the dollar index, and it shows you the strength of the dollar. And if this is bearish, the Euro USD is bullish, and if this is bullish, then the Euro USD is bearish. So if you watch this on the weekly time frame also, you can see that in the past few weeks we had a lot of sellers. As you can see, there is a lot of weekly bearish candlestick as compared to the bullish candlestick, and the market was moving down, but the bears have lost momentum. As you can see, we have several rejections on the weekly time frame, which tells you that the bears have lost momentum, and now the bulls are back in action, and they tend to push this market higher. As you can see, we had a good bullish weekly candlestick which was formed at this point here, and this tells you now the bulls are ready to push this market higher. So actually I'm watching this pair. I expect a more push to the downside before the market can push higher. So I'll be watching these two. On the daily time frame. I just expect some push back to the downside at around these regions to form a light shoulder, an inverse light shoulder, because this is the inverse head and shoulder pattern, which is also a reversal candlestick pattern, because we have the left shoulder at this point, we have the head, and now we are looking to form another light shoulder at this point. So if the light shoulder is formed at this point, then it's when I'll be looking to sell at around these regions on the Euro USD. So I'm currently waiting to see if this scenario will be happening on the DXY and on the USD before I decide to enter a trade on Euro USD. Well, that is the second pair I'll be watching, and the third pair I'm currently watching is Canadian Swiss franc. As you can see, Canadian Swiss franc on the daily time frame now, we are looking to push higher after the market had pushed down for a long period of time. The market is now forming higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, and now it is on the verge of forming another higher highs. And if you watch this pair, you can see that on the daily time frame, we have a trend line which is being well respected. As you can see, we have the first touch at this point, we had the second touch at this point, this is the third touch, and now currently we are having the fourth touch. Well, the community had a trade on this pair last week. We entered at around these regions, we took some profits at around these regions here. Our stop loss was just below, so we booked almost 3.64% on this trade. Well, so actually we are looking this pair coming into this week. In case we have a good rejection from this point, we'll be entering another long so that we could take some profits at higher levels. Well, so I'll delete this trend line, and as you can see, we missed the trade yesterday on Monday from these regions here because I dilated this area on the weekend to look for a 4-hour confirmation to sell early in the week. Why? Because the market had formed some kind of double top. As you can see, the market was trading at this point here. When the market opened on Monday, it was trading at around these regions, and when I watched this during the weekend, I noticed that the market was going to form another top, and it could be forming a double top, which is a bearish reversal pattern. And as you can see, the market pushed low, so we could have begged some pips from this point here to around these regions here where the neckline was, but we didn't enter this trade because the market didn't give us a clear 4-hour confirmation. As you can see, the market rejected, but it was a huge candlestick, and actually I wasn't on the charts, so I couldn't send this trade in my community, but it was a very good setup. So I'll be deleting this, and currently we are watching this pair and see if we can have a rejection from 0.68761 around this point here, or if the market could push below around this area and we could be entering a long trade from around these regions. But I'm favoring this support at 0.68761, and if we close with this some sort of bullish engulfing candle, and as you can see, we have a strong support at this point. We have the first touch, the market block here, and we had a retest, and currently it has returned back to this area. So if it happens we close this 4-hour candlestick in a such bullish way, we could be looking for a long position on the retracement. I'll be waiting for a retracement because you can't enter right away on the market price. You must look to get a good risk to reward ratio, because our take profits will be at around these regions. So we could wait, or we could put some buy limits at around these regions, and our stop loss would be around 13 pips here. So I'd be looking for something like this, and this trade would be giving a risk to reward ratio of 3.37, which is a good risk to reward ratio. So if it happens we have a good closure like this on the 4-hour time frame, and we are currently almost I can say 50 minutes to this candlestick closure, I'll be sending this trade right away in my community with the entry, a stop loss, and the take profit. Well, so this is one of the pairs also we'll be watching, and we are currently trading in our community VIP. Well, the other pair I've talked about it already. This is Canadian yen. We started with this. I've elaborated it already. And the other pair we are currently holding is New Zealand USD. As you can see, we have a trade on this pair, and we are currently trading at around our entry, as you can see, at around this point here, and we are currently holding this trade. As you can see, the market is trading at the support. We had this touch at this point. We had a touch at this point where we entered a long trade last week. We entered a long trade at around these levels, and we exited at around these points. Our stop loss just below here. This was the trade we took last week. Well, so we are currently looking to enter another long position. Why? Because you can see we have this Doge candlestick, and yesterday we had some sort of Doge candlestick, and so the market could push higher before we could see a push to the downside. So we are currently holding this trade in our VIP community, and the market is still trading at around our entry. Sometimes you have to have some patience for your trades to enter into profits, and that's what we are doing in our community VIP channel. So that's the pair we are watching. Another pair which is on our watch list is Euro Pound, but Euro Pound has been so choppy in the previous days. As you can see, it has been trading between two prices around 0.9589 and around 0.89751. We had a trade on this pair also in the previous weeks. We entered at around these points here, and our stop loss was just above. Actually, we didn't take a lot of profits because the market couldn't reach our take profit was at around these regions, and the market just pushed low, and it found some support at around this point, and then it pushed higher where it hit our break even, and that's okay because the markets are like that. You must accept it. So actually, coming into this week, I want to be watching Euro Pound. As you can see, it has been consolidating between two prices, and it has been very choppy. You must know which markets you should be trading and in which times. If the market doesn't give you what you want to see, you must just stay on the sidelines and wait to see what's happening. And as you can see on Euro Pound, the market doesn't seem to have found direction, and it is currently in a choppy market. So it's not good, it's not advised to trade such markets. You should wait to see a clear break and a clear direction in price so that you could either buy or you could either sell that market. Well, the other trade, the other pair, commodity, it is a commodity, this is gold. I'll be watching gold. This is on the 4-hour time frame, but I'll be watching this on the daily time frame. This pair, this commodity has been buying in the past few weeks. You can see it has been buying, and it attained a new all-time high of 2068 ounces per gold, as you can see, and now the market is finding some retracement for another impulsive wave to the upside. So actually, I'm not selling gold at these times. I'm just looking for areas to buy where we could see another push to the upside. So actually, the market had found some support at around these areas at 1927.87, and as you can see now, the market is trying to break this support. So I'll be waiting to see if we'll be having a clear break from this point, then I'll be waiting for the market to reach this area here before I could look for going long. If the market doesn't reject this area, I'll be waiting for the market to reach this area, and it's when I'll be looking for areas to buy. But currently I'm on the sidelines. I'm just waiting to see a clear rejection from this point, and if it doesn't happen, then I'll be waiting to see what happens at around 1880. So that's what I had for you guys, and this could help with your weekly analysis. If you are a swing trader like me, this could help, and you could have a clear vision of what may be happening coming into this week. Well, if you want to join our community, you'll just click the link below this YouTube video. We do offer different educations in our forex, but also on the blockchain and the cryptocurrency. So just click the link. You can see how you can subscribe to our community. Thank you all, and I just wish you a good trading week, a profitable one. Thanks.